Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to day 74 of commercial diving school. Today we're doing more salvage operations and my team got to go today and I got to dive. So I'm going to tell you all about that. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and leave any comments or questions for me down below. So like I said, we went to the dive station and set everything up. We even had some extra hats today. Pretty much everybody had a job today. Nobody was just, without something to do all day long. You're either on comms or you're attending or you're in the water basically. And so today was my team 2's chance to go and get their salvage operation accomplished. And our first thing we're gonna do when we got in the water is start attaching barrels to the boat. And basically what I mean by that is what we're trying to do is we're trying to attach a lifting force to the boat that's submerged on the bottom of the river. And so to do that, we need to attach like either a lift bag, which is basically like a big balloon, and it's deflated at first, and then you tie it off to the boat, and then you add air to it, and it creates a lifting force. So they call it a lift bag. And same principle goes for a barrel. These barrels are plastic. They're 50-gallon drum barrels, and basically they cut a big hole in the bottom or the top, and so we flip them upside down, and then we tie a line or a rope to it, and we can use it for the same purpose as a lift bag. We had more barrels than we had lift bags, so we basically were using, I think we used about 10 barrels total today. And then we had about 3 or 4 lift bags at our disposal. And basically we had 2 divers on our team that started off that mission of getting barrels tied to the boat. So they're trying to get like 4 or 5 attached before they started adding any air. And like I said in my previous video, we would also have swimmers in the water. These swimmers are basically just passing these barrels to the divers. So someone who's standing on the pier is, throwing the barrels to us. And shoot, I was gonna say that I was one of the divers, or I was one of the swimmers first thing in the morning. So we had 2 divers, and then I was one of the swimmers. So I got to, receive a barrel and then swim down and hand off a barrel to the diver that's at the boat, and they would basically tie it off, and then I would, get another barrel, take it down to them. They would tie another one off. And then basically halfway through the morning, we swapped. So those divers would get out, and then the people that were swimming would basically swap gear with those guys. And then now they are swimmers, and now we were divers. So I got to dive the second half of the morning. And when it was my chance to dive, there was about 5 barrels attached to the boat. And basically we just started filling the barrels with air so that it started to create a lifting force. Now let me tell you right off the bat, even 5 barrels did not start lifting up this boat. Like, we had to attach more barrels. Some of the barrels ended up busting like the line because we had 2 different thicknesses. Like, we had a good thick rope on some of them, but a few had like real thin line on it, and it wasn't gonna hold. And plus that line was a little bit old too, so that didn't help. So it's kind of crazy when a barrel like busts, especially when it's full of air, because it just goes boom and then it just shoots up and it just like, falls over on the top of the water. But it rushes to the top, and it's a solid, like, it's like a car like moving. That's how solid this thing is, and you just don't want to be around it when it shoots up. It's just crazy. But Yeah, that kind of sucks because we had to retie the barrel, refill it up, and it just takes up more time. And then it's hard to manage your umbilical as well, because you don't want that getting wrapped around a barrel and then the barrel will break and then it take you up, and then, you know, it could pull something out like your comms or even your air hose or something critical like that, and you could end up wrapping yourself around the boat. There's also the fact that you could, you know, your umbilical could go under the boat, and then this thing could come, you know, down on your umbilical, and then I've heard that happening before. It's just the risk that you kind of take as a commercial diver. But anyways, so we ended up filling a bunch of the barrels. We ended up putting more barrels on and filling those up, and we actually got the boat to kind of tilt up like that. So now we have a high side and we have a low side, and that was what my kind of me and the other diver were able to accomplish before lunch. Then after lunch, when we came back, the other divers were actually able to get that other end up so that it wasn't completely flat and level, but they're at least able to get the boat and all the lift bag and all the barrels and lift bags to get the boat, you know, just under the water. I think the boat lifted up about 2 to 3 feet below the water line. And basically all the barrels, like the top of the barrels, were sitting on the top, so you could see them poking out of the water, but the boat just wouldn't go up anymore because the barrels, you know, were already as high as they can pretty much go. And the issue is, so you have the boat and it's like this, and we're not tying off to the top edge, we're tying off a little bit lower than that. But even tying off lower than the edge, the boat and how tall the barrels are, they're just not ever going to get the boat high enough for the top edge of the boat to, you know, rise above the water so that we can start pumping out. So needless to say, or I guess what I'm trying to get at is, we didn't get the boat completely up and pumped the water out of the boat. We got it to, you know, float, and but it didn't break the water. It just sat like about 2 to 3 feet below the water, because the barrels just wouldn't pick it up anymore. That was as high as it would go. The only thing I can think of that would do a better job is if somehow we could get like a barrel, like tie it off on one side and then have the barrel run under, like the line run under the boat, and then have the barrel here, like pushing the boat up instead of having the barrel up here, like just sitting on surface or whatever. So that's the only thing I could think of that would actually like push underneath the boat to push the boat up completely onto surface, and then you pump the water out. But anyways, there's another team that gets their chance to go tomorrow, and we'll see how they do. Hopefully they do it better, and if they do, we actually get to take a picture like inside the boat as a class and be like, yay, we did it, or whatever. And it might get posted on social media or whatever, like the last senior class that was able to do it. Yeah, anyways, that was basically today. Like I said, tomorrow the next group gets to go. This weekend I'm doing week 15 video recap, and then next week we got a lot of the stuff. We got our final exam. We have, I think we finish up our open water scuba. We do a employability skills class where we work on our resume some more, and then hopefully we'll get a list of companies and their contact information. And then we're doing a mixed gas dive, mixed gas, where we're going in the chamber, like the hyperbaric chamber, and they're adding helium to it. So we get the opportunity to feel like what that's like, and you get like a Donald Duck voice. That's super popular in diving. But anyways, and then we also do the diving bell, where it's basically they have like it's called a wet bell, where basically you sit inside of it, and then they have like it's like kind of like a crane, but it's just more like a arm that like swings the bell over the water, and then it lowers you down, and you have like umbilical that's inside the bell, and then you get lowered down, and it's just to get us to feel kind of what it's like to, you know, use a diving bell. And I think that's pretty much next week, and then we already go to Ocala. So if you're interested in any of that, stay tuned. Anyways, subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave a like if you enjoyed, and leave any comments or questions for me down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.